Hey, how you guys doing? Clear Blue Realty coming back at you with another video. Hey guys, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button for me. Try and help me out here as I try to build this up a little bit. So what I do is I do videos for people who are thinking about going into the real estate business, give you a little insight also for buyers and sellers so they can understand the process of what you go through as you are buying and selling a home. So what I want to talk to you guys today about is the home search, not the home search, the offer process. So as you go through the process of offering for a home and potentially buying a home, so the first step is going around and looking for the home that you want, right? So you want to find a home that you like. You want to find a home that works for you and for your family, has the right amount of space, right amount of bedrooms. So in that situation, well, it could take a while, right? It could take a week, it could take a month, it could take some amount of it could take longer. It just, there's no real gauge on how long the process is going to take. It depends upon the buyer, depends upon whether you have a good real estate agent who understands your needs. So I typically say between 1 and 2 weeks, right? That could be 4 or 5 showings. So best case, the good scenario for a listing agent and for buyers to go look at 3 or 4 homes and find a home that you want, right? So now you found that home that you want. Now you want to submit an offer. So depending upon the market situation and the conditions, I can tell you about this market. This market is moving very fast. So when you see a home that you like, and typically I'm working in the New Jersey market, and typically what's been happening now, I've dealt with some buyers who put some offers in and they're putting low offers in. And right now this market is really not friendly for homes that are newly renovated. The seller has taken care of the home. It's not really suited for low offers under asking price. They either get ignored or they just get passed over. So let's say you have an offer that checks all the boxes and the seller is like, hey, I like this offer. So now step number 2 is out of the way and your offer is accepted. So you have an offer that's accepted. You send out the contracts. As a buyer's agent, a lot of the times you are asked to prepare the contract. So you gather all the information about the buyer, about the seller, put it on the contract, and now you send that contract to your buyer to sign. He signs it, she signs it, send it back to you. You send it to the listing agent to have their seller sign the contract. Now, after that's done and the contract is signed by both sides, so if that happens on a Tuesday, Wednesday, you are typically under attorney review. Your buyer should have selected their attorney, the seller should have selected their attorney, and the contracts are sent to those attorneys for now a negotiation process to start. That's really not a part of my particular interest or focus, but they will go back and forth with particular terms in the contract that protects the buyer or protects the seller. Now, after those 3 days are up, basically what the buyer's agent will do is inform his buyer that they should get an inspection of the property done. So that's attorney review is step number 3. Now inspection is step number 4. So now typically what I do is I send out 3 inspection companies that the buyer can choose from, or they can select their own. And once that's done, they will sometimes I contact the inspection company and schedule a time with the listing agent for them to come out and take a look at the property. Everybody wants to get that done as soon as possible to move forward the process and see if there's any deficiencies with the property. The next step is another part that the buyer's agent will do, which is sending out the contracts that's been signed by both sides. You send that out to the attorney. Sometimes they have it already, but send it out to the attorney. You send it out to the title company because you want to initiate the process of the title search beginning and getting a title commitment. Title search is done for the property so that you can find out if there's any liens on the property or if there's any other legal issues with the property. Who owns the property? Those things you need to find out. So that's another part of the process. Then the contract is also sent to the mortgage company. So the mortgage company gets the contract, and typically right at that point, the mortgage company will get scheduled to have an appraisal done of the property. So step number, right after attorney review, like 4, 5, and 6 is sending out the contracts and starting to initiate certain processes to get the inspection done, to get the appraisal done with the mortgage company, which you don't really have a part in, but the mortgage company handles and takes care of, getting the title commitment. So those things are sort of happening simultaneously. The next part of the process is after you inform the title company and proceed to get title worked on, you want to have your buyer send out the good faith deposit, earnest money deposit. So whatever you've put into the contract, as far as this is the amount of the deposit that you want your buyer to put up to secure the deal, secure the contract, that money needs to be sent from the buyer to the title company. So, whether it's $2,000 or so, and then you tell the buyer, you say, hey, give me a copy, also a certified check, give me a copy front and back so that I can keep that for my records. You want to keep that for your records, okay? And that's, I would call that step number 5. Step number 6, title search is going. Step number 7, the mortgage company orders the appraisal. Once you get the inspection report back, right? So you've ordered the inspection to take place for the property. So now that inspection comes back. When that inspection comes back, sometimes you have some issues with the property. Maybe there's a leak in the basement. Maybe there's a leak in the roof. So what you want is you want to talk to your buyer and go over that inspection report and find out what they consider to be major issues with the home. If it's an older home, there's going to be some issues, more than likely. And depending upon what the frame of mind of your buyer is, you want to make sure that you're getting their needs met. If there's a crack on the front step, if there's some issue in the bathroom with a leaky faucet, you have to write those things up. So what I do is I write those items up, and I also gather some snapshots from the inspection report, and I send that to the lawyer, and I say, this is what the buyer wants to have repaired or fixed or receive a credit for. And, the buyer can go online and look at different repairs and how much it would cost. And then together, you can also do some research with them, and then you can come up with a number that you think would help in order to get those items repaired, and ask for that in a credit. There's certain limitations to the credit, but this is typically what you do to help out the buyer in this process. And then send that list back to the lawyers. The lawyers will now communicate with the other side, communicate with the lawyers, and also the lawyers on the other side will communicate with the owners and see. They might come back and say, no, we don't want to give a $5,000 credit. We'll give a $2,500 credit. It's a negotiation process, okay? So now, if all of those things have been taken care of, and we're kind of like at step number 8, so now you want to know who is getting the certificate of occupancy for the property. Now, this is something that really should be taken care of much earlier. And I'm just putting these things in steps just so you as an agent have a flow to how the order of the process can go. But it doesn't necessarily have to happen in this order, because I've kind of talked to you about some things, but I've talked to you about them sort of somewhat out of order. But the order is dictated by, a lot of times, just how things flow. So the certificate of occupancy is typically something that's taken care of by the seller. And the seller, because the seller knows the home. And typically, like in New Jersey, you would go to this state offices downtown and have a set an appointment for an inspector to come out. They will inspect for safety. They will inspect to see if the kitchen has like a fire extinguisher. They'll inspect to see if the property, if you have any leaks, if you have any leaks in the basement, if you have any plumbing leaks. So basically, it's like a second inspection, but you have to have this done per the standards of the state in order for the property to be sold. And this is for sales, and this is also for a lease. If you are leasing the property, you have to have a certificate of occupancy every time a different occupant moves into that property. So this is really the process. And then finally, what you're waiting for from the mortgage company is a clear to close. You early on, I didn't mention this, but you are trying to get a mortgage commitment from the mortgage company. A mortgage commitment is basically the mortgage company saying, we will commit to giving you a mortgage for X amount of dollars that you have signed on for this contract between the buyer and the seller. And once you get that, then you're moving forward in some of the earlier steps. Then towards the end, you are waiting for a clear to close from the mortgage company. A clear to close from the mortgage company gives you a sign off. Now I can do my pre-settlement walkthrough with my buyer and go in there because I know that the mortgage company has given me a clear to close. We're just waiting for the day to come when we can go and close. So those are some of the steps. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in some future videos as far as some of the more details of what happens in each step. But those are the steps. It's about 10 steps, guys. And you want to be aware of those so that you kind of understand how the process goes. So thank you very, very much today, guys, for your time. If you have any comments, questions, please, comment, but definitely hit me with a likes button, and look forward to talking to you guys in the future. Keep your head up, stay positive. Appreciate you. Thanks.